We're excited to welcome Melissa Parker to Talk of the Aisle. She's the creative force behind Seven Blooms and Amaranth, two businesses that have become known for turning weddings and celebrations into something unforgettable. Calling her a florist doesn't quite even cover it. Melissa's work is really about creating experiences that move people and make moments feel bigger. What stands out about Melissa is her intentionality. Every project, every relationship is approached with thoughtfulness and care, and you'll hear that come through in how she talks about her work. Most of all, people walk away from Melissa struck by how genuine she is, and that's something you can't fake. Today we dig into the journey behind her business, the values that guide her, and how she's created something both beautiful and lasting. So Melissa, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much to both of you. Thank you, Melissa and Michael.
Yeah.
It's always funny to say Melissa to somebody.
I mean, we are pretty amazing, aren't we?
I
We're around the world.
me and two Melissas. This is
know,
Two
right?
honeybees. Two honeybees.
Yeah, there you go. All right. I'm ready. Thank you so much. This is awesome. This is my first time. So forgive me if I'm very green I listen to podcasts literally every day. I'm obsessed with podcasts. And then when this opportunity came up, I was just like,
it was an edge, right? Like, oh,
oh my gosh, wait. And then my husband last night was like, I was like stressing, and he was just like, Melissa, you listen to podcasts every day. Like, what is the deal? And I was like, yeah, but it's different to listen and then just be on the other side of it. So thank you. And
I mean, and like we've obviously listened to a lot of podcasts, and this is new for us, you know, so that's why we also were intentional about keeping it pretty low key and, you know, not kind of getting into the weeds of, you know, things that might not matter as much as just the content itself. So, and we know each other. So,
yes,
you know,
that helps so much.
Although I feel like, did our paths first cross through WIPA?
No, I feel like we've worked together. We've definitely worked together before.
As far as like, for me and you though, having like a really like intentional conversation outside of being on a wedding day, I feel like that was the first time we really got to know each other.
For sure. WIPA, for sure.
Yeah.
WIPA really for so many like connections that I've made like on a deeper level with, you know, wedding pros, you know, like because before you saw people like in passing or maybe here or there, but like I really feel like WIPA has been amazing for those connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so like, just to kind of like rewind it. Editors, take that out, please. Just to like rewind back to the beginning, as far as how you actually even got into the wedding world, because we had a conversation the other day about how you were a little bit of a late bloomer, no pun intended. So like, how did that all happen?
It was like so kind of strange how the whole thing happened. So my background was in, well, if I don't know how far we're going to go back, but like I'll just do the very abbreviated version. I was actually thinking about going to law school. Can you imagine me as a lawyer? Like totally.
Actually, yes, I can.
You literally look like a lawyer right now. Like,
oh, do I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe. But my husband's a lawyer. When I met him, I was like, oh my God, this is nuts. So I like immediately switched gears because I was studying for the LSAT and I started teaching. So my career prior to this was teaching. I taught history to high school and middle school students. And I was like doing educational consulting, this whole thing. But I always like my passion has always been like cooking, decorating, floral, entertaining, hosting. Like that is just my gift. And that's where I am truly at my best. And one day in 2018, I was in my garage doing flowers for an event, like a golf outing, I think it was. And my mom and my best friend were like sitting there drinking wine while I was doing, and again, so self-taught, didn't have any background, but I was just doing this. And they were just like, you're so happy when you're working with flowers. Like, why are you not doing this as a career? And at the time I was in the running for a administrative position at a school. And I was like down to the wire. I was like a finalist. And I was not like super excited about it because I was like, oh, like I'm not really, like I'm not super pumped. But anyway, long story short, they just gave me that spark to say, let me look into this. So I did a little research. There was a flower shop that was for sale right near, not too far from where I lived and where my kids went to school. And I looked into it. I talked to my husband. I ultimately decided to take the plunge. I bought an existing business, very small, very old flower shop. It was like, just, it needed love. And it needed
Melissa's touch.
Yes. And so I bought it. I turned down the opportunity because I ended up getting the other job, but I turned it down and I decided that I was going to take a dive into entrepreneurship. So I bought this business. I rebranded, revived, and grew it. And now 7 years later, third location, expansion, all the things. That's kind of what came out of my garage with my mom and my best friend.
Oh, I love that story. What an alignment.
Yeah.
And like, cheers to you for not going with what was like guaranteed and safe and really listening to your intuition and your heart.
Yes.
Like you followed the bliss.
I did. And I didn't know what I was doing because it's not like I went to business school or anything like that. So there were, it was totally passion. It was totally like, just kind of just diving into something that I knew nothing about. I just knew I had a vision in my head. I always do. Like, even if I'm looking at a house or like whatever, I always have a vision. Yeah. And then I just figure out how I'm going to execute it. If I don't know, I'll figure it out. And that's kind of how I approach the business. I don't know, but I know that I'm really good at figuring things out and learning and, and listening. Yeah. And so I'm going to figure it out. And so I did it.
Love that. I feel like for any type of entrepreneurship, to take that faith, you need to have, one, trust in yourself. You need, oh God, hold on. I like lost it all. I went.
I think it's like
trust, passion, and the willingness to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And like mistakes are part of it and being comfortable with that and just kind of like, I feel like and the wedding industry specific, I think is really interesting because regardless of the discipline, they all have their own challenges and there are mistakes that can be made in all of them. But I feel like if you are leading with like, a bit of heart and intentionality, that it will be okay and you can figure it out. And it's a very collaborative industry as well. So like, there is that kind of support that you can find and connect to, which I think makes it that much easier because the vendors who don't connect with other vendors, they get burned out and eaten up pretty quick. So it's kind of like, just we all need to have a little grace for each other and be there for each other, kind of help along the way. But
yeah. Well, that you definitely like, I don't know if we're going to get into that later, but that was definitely my journey. Like you like hit it on the head. All of that, I did not really start to flourish until I found that community, but it took a while. Yeah. It's not easy in the beginning.
It's not always easy to find that community right away.
And then even like within that, so we were in our 17th year and we started when there was no community, when it was just everyone's competition and there was no warmth in the industry and everything was a secret, to kind of starting to find it. And then, over the years, it just kind of like, ebbs and flows a bit and, groups come and go. And then you might be part of a group for a while and then it just kind of like loses its, interest for you and you kind of move on. So it's also interesting in that respect, kind of zooming out that like, it's not as if you're going to find one group and then like you're set for life because everyone grows in different directions at some point. So
for sure.
Yeah. And I think just kind of being open and vulnerable with others is kind of the secret, I think, because you can kind of get stuck into trying to fit into certain boxes and that's something which kind of think can lead people astray versus kind of, I think what you do really well is you stay true to yourself. So you kind of have a very specific set of lenses that you operate through, which we talked about the other day, can make things difficult.
Yeah.
Right. But in the long run, it's the right way to go about it, I think.
Yeah. Totally.
So tell us, what part of your work lights you up the most?
Honestly, it's the people. I think by nature, by nature, I am lit up when I'm serving others and doing for others. I think that's like my love language. And so it just makes me really happy when I'm able to make a connection with people, listen to their story, and then in my particular, business of flowers, being able to take that information and then translate it into something meaningful and relatable and personal, through the floral work. And then for me, just seeing the reaction, and thankfully, like knock on wood, we have had really amazing feedback and response from the beginning,
Yeah.
even through the difficult times of how there's just that I really try to make connections with people and hear them and see them so that whatever it is that they want, comes through in the work. So for me, it's really the people. I'm a people person,
Yeah.
and making people happy makes me happy.
And how is that feeling when like I'm sure you're not always there for like the room reveal for the couple, but I know that the wedding that we were together with, Ellen and Byrne, like you were there to see that. Like how beautiful is that feeling when you get to see them walk into their reception space and see like their vision in your eyes come to life?
It's amazing. I mean, and it's interesting because I feel like the bigger the weddings are, and particularly weddings where you're working with planners, that opportunity to be there for the room reveal, happens. Like in the beginning, we would just kind of like come in like ninjas and then leave. And, like I wouldn't really hear or see anything until the very end, like at breakdown, which I don't really do anymore, but that's when I would like get some kind of feedback, or when there was a review, or like a message or an email or a note or a call, after the event. So like you're just kind of sitting there like, oh my God, I hope it all went well. But now that we do have the opportunity to kind of be there for the reveal and get that first look, that first reaction, that feels really good. And fortunately, like I said, I've been very blessed to have good experiences and great clients who thankfully we got their vision and we were able to execute.
Yeah. Well, you're amazing. So
and something that I believe, and I feel like I say all the time, is that the person behind the work can be the thing that elevates the work in the client's mind,
absolutely.
right? So like, first of all, it's amazing that you get to have that experience, because we don't, right? Like in our line of work, we're delivering photos and video afterwards. So the only kind of live, experience we get to have with the couples is typically if we get a chance to say goodnight at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Where like wedding we just did on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Like the bride was like emotional with us, and it was like really beautiful, and she just was like overwhelmed by just how the day went and just kind of the experience that we provide. So like, just like with you, because of who you are and the heart you have in the work, your clients are responding even bigger than just
because they feel you. They feel your heart through the whole process, and like they feel your heart in the design on the day.
Yeah. And that's like very, very important to me. I mean, and I've said this like from the beginning that, customer service and being very client forward facing is really, really important to me, for all of us to show up and just like whatever needs to be done to make it happen is what we're going to do. Sometimes, it means that we have to go above and beyond and maybe do somebody else's job just to make sure it happens. But that I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that everything is done, well and exceeds, meets and certainly exceeds the expectation of the client. And hopefully that does come through, because that's something that's really, really super important to me.
Yeah, I would say it does. And I also think like, I love that attitude, because like when we show up on a wedding day, we have our own responsibilities, but we care about everything that's happening for a couple. So if there's opportunities for us
To be helpful.
to help
Yeah.
another vendor out, or just help the bride out in a way that's not like part of our job description, we do it. And like those are exciting opportunities for us, because it kind of like it's an easy way to enrich the experience we're providing, not just for the couples, but even like helping out guests who aren't the couple or other vendors, and just trying to be supportive. And like, we're all here for one reason, and it's just to make this day special and to happen, without any big hiccups. So.
Yeah, I mean, and it's shocking to me. Like, I have definitely been in situations where like the vendor will say, "That's not my job. We don't do that," or like whatever, it's not in the contract, and I'm like, yeah, but it has to be done. So like, we're going to do it. But there are people who have those strict rules. We do not. We're going to do whatever we need to do.
Yeah. I mean, we're all there showing up as a team, really.
Yeah. That's what I like about the collaboration aspect of working with other vendors, is, and people in the industry, because, at the end of the day, if we all work together, and help each other, we elevate each other, right?
Exactly.
Like, it's not like a one-man show in this business.
Yep.
Takes a village.
Yeah. I love the saying of, by yourself, you can do so little, but together you can do a whole lot.
Oh yeah.
And
I truly believe that.
Yeah. And I don't even know if that's exactly the saying. I'm pretty sure.
Saying.
I think I messed it up a little bit.
You know what I mean?
I totally
get it first, folks. All three listeners, you got that? No, it's true. So, just to kind of like hone in on a specific experience for you, like kind of looking through your career, what's a favorite moment or wedding that you've done that you can kind of share a bit about?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I was trying to think about that, and there are a lot of different ones, but I think one that really kind of struck me, because there was a lot going into it. It was the first wedding that we did with Fulton Events, which was, huge for me, because I guess technically the first thing that we did with her was the WIPA town hall. So she didn't really know me, and so it was kind of taking a chance. But we did the wedding at Cedar Lakes, which was also like super exciting to me, because to me, Cedar Lakes is like, one of the spots that you want to get to in this industry. Yeah. And the client, funny enough, she had 4 girls. She has 4 girls, and I have 2 girls and a boy, but our girls went to elementary school together. And so she was the client. Her one of her daughters was getting married, and Caitlin and Fulton were the planners. And it was really like a favorite moment for me when we did that room reveal, because a couple of things had happened during the planning year. The groom's mom passed. Like, unfortunately, she was ill, and she passed, and that was like super emotional. And then like a couple of months before the wedding, the bride's dad passed.
Oh,
and I knew the family, like I said, because our kids went to school together, and it was like, it was crazy. But like the day, the welcome day, like the first day of the weekend, the couple was up on the mountain, like, kind of doing their welcome photos, and there was a rainbow that appeared, and that was like, gave me chills, because to see that, and to have gone through seeing these 2 young people go through such significant losses right in the right before their wedding, and then the rainbow to appear, was like, okay, mom and dad are here. And then for the next day, for the room reveal, the mom came in. Well, they all came in, and they were just like crying, and was like, "Don't cry, your makeup." But she like, the mom gave me like the biggest hug, and she was just like, Michael would have been so proud that her husband. And then the daughter said, "I always dreamed since I was a little girl that this is what my wedding would be." She had like she was really specific about what she wanted. She's like, I've been dreaming about this since I was a little girl, and you nailed it. And I was like, oh. So to me, that was, because there was it just makes you realize you never know like what people are going through, or what people's circumstances are, and how things are going to hit them. And so for me to be able to speak to people through a visual medium like floral, and have them affect them and seeing that emotion, to me, that was just a really, that was a great example of why I do what I do, and how it impacts people. And then that brings me joy. So
Right.
that was a nice moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are definitely those moments where you're like, "Ah, I'm exactly where I need to be."
I feel like that's like those are the big moments where like it connects with you and you're like, I get it. Because I think it could be it's easy to get distracted in this industry about things that are not as important. But like you're connecting to the human side of it.
Yeah.
A question I was going to follow up with is like, what drives you to keep doing this work? Even when it gets really hard. But I think that's the answer.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's the human side of it. And for me, it's, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, but I'm a worrier, and I'm like a people pleaser, by nature. And so, I, even like when it gets really hard and I'm frustrated, and that has happened over the years so many times, I can't even, like, periods of time where I'm just like, why am I doing this? This is so hard. I'm not making any money. It's like whatever. But at the end of the day, it's those moments of this validation that come from the clients.
Yeah.
And for me, my family and my friends and the community that has supported me from the beginning all the way through, like, I am just not going to let them down, and I'm not going to give up. Like, it's just not in me to give up, even when I want to, and I just want to like crawl under my sheets and, suck my thumb. I owe it to myself and to people around me to keep doing what I'm doing. And then on the other side of it, just to see, okay, you're doing something positive because you're getting like good reactions and good feels from what you're doing. So just get up and get out of bed and do it again.
Something that I also would do occasionally, not as much anymore, but like I would contrast what our life is now and what we do and the difficulties that go along with that, but then contrast that to back when I had like a 9 to 5 and like a normal, desk job and like a completely different life where there wasn't freedom of time, creative freedom. Like there's so many other advantages there in addition to be able to like collaborate with people in a completely different way. I feel like that really helps me sometimes when I'm like, this is just, really hard. I wish I could just go back to something else. And then I'm like, no, like we always talk about how for years, this is before we started the business, like I would have a job and I would keep getting fired like one after another. And it was just like constant. And it was right when our daughters were born, that first year of their life. And it was just chaos.
And like, you are not meant to work for anyone else. Just
just Melissa. But yeah,
but it's true. It's true. I mean, like, it's not, and listen, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not.
And I tell people all the time, like, it's, there are trade-offs in both scenarios. It's not easy, but very fulfilling.
Yeah.
And especially for someone like me, like I need to have constant motion and change in what I'm doing. Like if I'm doing the same thing every day, 9 to 5, I get bored easily and distracted very easily. So, there's just like an energy that comes from, being an entrepreneur, but there's also a lot of, hard work. So, there are trade-offs for both. It's not for everybody, but I feel like at this stage in my career trajectory, it's, I really want to help other people, who are interested in entrepreneurship sort of, navigate, as much, like, again, I learned a lot of things the hard way. And so if there's a way to maybe spread some knowledge or share information that will help other people pursue their passion for profit in a way that doesn't, necessarily require all the mistakes and all the hardships that I did, then that's kind of where I would love to, focus some energy at this next chapter.
So when does your podcast start?
Oh my gosh, I know. Woo. And you guys are so brave. Like, honestly, like I think
I mean, I don't think it's bravery. I think it's just like we've failed more times than we've succeeded, and we've kind of gotten used to that, and we're okay with it. So, like,
so try it, right?
Yeah, go try it.
like,
Yeah.
worst that can happen is, we have 3 people that listen to any of our episodes and are like, oh, I like that,
But if someone gets something out of it,
Yeah. Then you've done something good.
right. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So to kind of like come back to the weddings that you do and your couples, what do you think that couples often misunderstand about your role and like the work that you do and all of that?
I mean, for sure, in my business, it's not understanding the how expensive everything is.
Yeah.
It's just I think people, a lot of people just think, oh, they're flowers. They can't. It's
custom.
easy. It's like, why is it so expensive? And what people don't really understand is, well, we're dealing with a perishable product. So like timing is very, very important. And there's a lot that goes behind taking these, perishable things and, and designing them and preserving them in a way that they're going to look amazing on the day of.
Yeah.
It's all about, it's a process. So that flowers have become enormously expensive, post COVID in particular, like the prices went up like crazy. So that's the other thing. Cost of goods, again, super expensive. Labor, and I pay my staff and my freelancers really well because I really believe that that's important. Even like my drivers, like I pay everybody really well. I think that's important. I think that anybody who's out there hustling deserves, like I'm way above minimum wage, but I feel like it's important if you're trying to get, good quality work. And then there's like the logistics and the overhead. I mean, I have a studio, I have payroll, I have a staff that depend on me. So all of that goes into, into the cost of putting together, florals for your wedding. And then, like, never mind the fact that there are the intangibles, the creativity, the mental energy that goes into coming up, like all the hours of work that go into coming up with the idea and then going through that whole process and the back and forth. Like, we are very, very hands-on with our clients. So we're on the phone, we're talking, we bring people in for samples always, which a lot of people don't do, but I'm like, that's very important to me. So the whole thing, the whole package is why, it's expensive. And I think a lot of people just don't get that. And, even if we ask, like, what's your budget? Inevitably, like the initial price that comes out of people's mouths is nowhere near
what they end up spending.
It is when you look at their Pinterest board, for example.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like, people just don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't make the connection between this beautiful product and what all the things that go into it and the expense that goes into it. So that's the thing that I think people don't understand.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of people that are getting married, this might be their first time. So they don't ever
Usually
no one's educating them on, or they haven't been educated.
Yeah. Or they'll see a random article by the Knot. It's like, your flowers should cost
like
$3,500.
Like, and that it's always so crazy because, and I mean, listen, I was that florist in the beginning because I didn't know. So I was undercharging.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Overworked.
Oh my God. I don't even know. I wasn't making any money. I was like, oh, I'm just going to make it look beautiful. And my husband was saying, you're actually supposed to make a profit. And I was like, well, that will come. Like I said, I operated off of instinct and not off of any kind of business acumen, which I now have, or I'm getting. But that is something that I did. I definitely undervalued my worth. I undervalued the product, and that is the recipe for,
burnout.
Having a business. But when you really understand the numbers and you really understand what goes into it, have to charge what you're worth. Otherwise, you're not going to make it in this business.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was a learning curve for me, but
Right.
it's expensive. But, and the other thing that's interesting, not to like belabor the point, but I mean, people get the venue, they get the this, the that, but like, imagine a wedding without decor and flowers. Like, what is that? So for something that's to me so critical in rounding out the whole experience, it's always a shock to me that we're almost like the last people to be hired, or like we're valued.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you're like the photographs, like what do you see? You see the couple, you see and then you see them with flowers. So
Right.
the flowers weren't there. Like
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, every part of like the wedding day, I feel like is crucial. Like, I can't imagine weddings without flowers. I can't imagine weddings without music, good music.
Right.
I can't,
Good music. It has to be good.
it's gotta be good. You gotta drop that beat.
yeah.
It's like it's
A
like
wedding without the photographer. I mean,
yeah,
now the videographer, and all of those things come at a cost.
at a cost. Yeah.
I mean, there are ways to simplify the experience, and that's where right after COVID, elopements and micro weddings became really popular, and still, are happening a lot. So it's not as if you have to go a particular size, but there's those elements involved.
Yeah.
Even if it's almost even more important the smaller you go. And I feel like thinking about florals and decor, I feel like that's where the magic is brought into these spaces.
That's where you can transform it.
That's where like makes it special, because it's super rare to have a space that is inherently magical, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. So again, and like I respect everyone for what they want, where they are. I think the interesting thing, the interesting pivot that I have come to more recently in the last year or two is recognizing that I personally in my business can't be everything to everyone.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because before in the beginning, I was trying to be everything to everyone. And that's not always the case, because everyone's going to have different levels of what they want or what they value or how much they want to spend. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
so, it's just that with the kind of work that we're doing and the product that we're doing, there's expense associated with that. And that's something that's not always, I mean, and eventually we're able to communicate that and people see the value, but not always upfront.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way that you could kind of get ahead of that and just put out some, informational pieces to clients that kind of set that perspective. But that's kind of an impersonal way of kind of going about it too. So I feel like you just have to get to that point of conversation and connection to where they can start to understand.
Yeah.
It's very personal and it's very one-on-one. And like you said, most people are doing this for the first time, or they just don't really have an appreciation for, like who knows? I mean, who knows? I don't know. I have no idea how much photographers charge. So like, I just don't have that level of understanding. So part of that is that educating people, communicating with people, being open and transparent with people so that they can understand.
And everyone's business is different.
Yeah.
And their goals are different and priorities. And that's also really interesting about the industry, is that you could take, 5 photographers, and then we have all very different approaches to business, different experiences we provide, and different goals.
Yep.
Right.
Which makes it harder for the clients, because they're like, oh my God, there's a million of these options, and like this is
You're all over the spectrum.
that's why I think ghosting has become such a common thing, is that couples are just overwhelmed and they get excited. They reach out to 15 different vendors for each category, and then they're just inundated with emails and texts and calls, and they're like, I just can't.
They shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah. That has been hard, honestly. The ghosting part. Because I also am like, I hate to say it, I'm like super sensitive. I don't have a thick skin. Oh, and so like
neither.
Oh my gosh, maybe it's Melissa. What?
I think it is.
Wait, when's your birthday?
March 30th. When's yours? What?
I'm March 21st.
Are you? All right. Are you an Aries?
March, Melissa.
I am.
This makes so much sense.
What's your husband's sign?
He's Libra.
Okay.
What am I?
You're an Aquarius.
Okay.
She doesn't even know. How do you even live your life if you don't know your signs?
How are you telling me to live my life? I don't know. I just
Wow.
That is so, I
Melissa.
love that.
I love that too.
I do understand you more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities.
Melissa, my Melissa.
Also, people pleaser by nature.
Yeah.
But then like a rebel in the same way.
So,
Oh my God. I'm like such a hot, like I'm like a fire, definitely fire sign. And my husband's like, you're such a hothead. But I'm like,
but then also there's like this sentimental, sensitive side. And I think it's because we're so close to the cusp of Pisces. Like they're a very emotional sign.
yes.
So I'm just like, sorry.
Astrology and weddings.
Yeah. So sorry.
Yeah.
I know we totally got off on a
No,
tangent.
I love
but
that.
yeah. No, I'm like very, very, so I don't even remember now I can't remember. I just got off on that and I can't.
We were talking about the ghosting and like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
very sensitive.
Oh my gosh. And I take it very personally.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I've tried to like figure out ways to get around that or try to, avoid that or what is it that we can do to and at the end of the day, you just can't. I mean, like
People are going to do what they're going to do. You have no control over it. But let's not ghost people.
Yeah.
Not cool.
But again, like, so for me, early days, because I come from the sales world, it was like, whether it's a ghosting or just a no, it's one step closer to the next yes.
Yeah.
That's my mantra for years. But now I'm always thinking like, I can only imagine what's on their plate. And,
Yeah.
I would
try to think about the other side. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would rather just be rejected. I'd rather be like, no. And I love that. And I'm always so gracious in my emails to couples that say,
Listen, we went another way. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, thank you. Just thank you for telling me. Yeah. Because I can close that part. Just move on.
I know. And even though that's hard too, right? Because like as sensitive people, like you don't necessarily want to hear the no either.
No.
But like you don't want to hear the nothing because then you're, at least my brain, I'm like, like analyzing and overanalyzing.
Right.
What did I, why did I do
Did they even get my email?
Oh my gosh, should I send another email? Oh my gosh, what, like I got that voice in my head.
That-
It's too much.
That critic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Worst critic is me.
So speaking of like critic and strong opinions, what's a strong opinion that you have in the wedding industry?
So for me, it's definitely, I feel like no matter what, like I have to operate with integrity, transparency, and kindness. And not everybody, like not all the people that you're interacting with, you come across, have those particular values or, kind of ways that they do things. But for me, honesty and treating people with respect, even if they're not the nicest people in the world, like I'm always like, kill them with kindness. That's all a non-negotiable for me. So if I come across vendors or people who don't operate their businesses like that, it's always a red flag for me. And it's always something that I'm always like, like just be careful. And then also like, when you come across difficult clients, like we try to, make sure that we're in alignment with our clients. And sometimes you just don't know until you're too far into it and you can't really get out of it. But at the same time, like I'm always going to stay the same way. I'm always going to be respectful. I'm always going to be responsive. I'm always going to be kind.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to always be myself. And then, just let the chips fall where they may. Like I can only control what I do,
Right.
not what other people do. So that's really a non-negotiable for me. And my staff and the people who I work with know that about me. And so that's kind of like, that's our MO.
Yeah, I respect that because in our experience, we've had to make a lot of hard decisions that were the right decisions, but hurt us in some ways. But in the long run, like we are proud of the way that we operate through those same values. And in terms of like integrity and kindness and these different things, like why do you think that it's such a can be a rare thing in such like a people-centered industry, like on the vendor side.
Why is it
Why do you think that can happen? Like, why does that happen? Like,
That people aren't
know,
like that.
because I always say that the wedding industry is so unique because I feel like having a heart for it is almost a prerequisite in a way. Not that you can't be business-like mainly and all that, but
yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like it, you know, in the wedding industry and also in the floral industry, I'll when I first came into this business, I was actually shocked at how many florists and flower shop owners in particular were like not nice people. And it always baffled me because I'm like, you're around beautiful things all day long and we're creating beautiful things. Like, how can you be so mean and nasty? Like, I just don't get it. Um, you know, and then I just removed myself from certain, you know, situations so that I didn't have to interact with people like that. And, you know, definitely, you know, finding a community through WIPA and, you know, through, you know, working with like amazing vendors has been awesome. So I think now they're definitely those people who are shady and shisty are few and far between. I feel like I'm dealing more with people who I align with and who are good, hardworking, you know, individuals who really care about the work. And then every so often you come across somebody who's not that way. And I just think it's just the nature of the beast. Like they're just going to, you know, people are people. And so you're going to have people who, you know, do things differently and have different values and, you know, have different backgrounds. And that's fine. Like that's just part of life.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't have any expectation that just because we're in this beautiful, you know, love-filled industry that's going to change fundamentally
who people
who people are. Like you're going to have good people and you're going to have difficult people in every aspect of life. I mean, I had it when I was in education. Like, you know, you think, oh, you're working with kids, you're doing some product thing, but there were like some really crazy people in education.
Oh God, yeah.
It's like, you know, it's across the, I mean, like in the world that we live in, like people have been given permission to behave badly.
Yeah.
To like do things that, you know, when I was growing up were like
unacceptable.
No-nos and unacceptable. And now like there's just this this I don't know, like permission slip to just go and just behave badly. And so that's what you're going to come across. And so, you know, just again, that's why it's really important to me to stay centered and stay true to who I am, because you can't go with the wind, because if you go with the wind, you'll be all over the place.
Yeah. And so kind of like finding out who you are, who you want to surround yourself with, and kind of staying on that specific path is important for probably peace of mind, but also like longevity in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's where I think when you get to a certain point where you can be a little bit more discerning about who you're working with and, you know, and what you're, you know, what you surround yourself with is really important. Like in the beginning, I was, you know, doing everything for everyone and it just wasn't always serving me. So now I can be a little bit more intentional about, you know, making sure that I'm working with people who are, you know, people I want to be around with. And then, you know, sprinkled in, you have, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. And then you just keep moving.
Keep on moving.
Keep on moving.
So what is something that you wish that more people in the wedding world talked about openly?
Honestly, I think it's just the business of doing this business. I think that there's so many things that we deal with, like just running the business and you know, dealing with burnout and, you know, trying to figure out how to, you know, manage you know, people and like all the things that go into being an entrepreneur in this particular industry is something that I'm finding more now since I have, you know, kind of gotten more involved in WIPA and having a community of vendors who I've been able to share with. I've gotten involved in Frida, which has been really an amazing network for having those one-on-one conversations. Like I said before, I'm a podcast junkie, which I wasn't before. like the last couple of years, I really kind of got connected with some podcasts that really helped me understand so many things about this business in particular, and just like the behind the scenes of entrepreneurship and marketing and all these things. Because in the beginning, I just didn't really have those resources, and there were not people who were friendly and willing to share and help. So I think that, um, like people always say, community over competition. Like, I completely get that we're in a competitive field, but I also think that there are a lot of people in the world and there's enough business to go around. And if we help and support each other and share information, it will help us all kind of elevate. I mean, I don't know if that's an unusual perspective, but I just feel like I think it would be beneficial to everybody to be more open,
Yeah.
with helping each other.
Yeah.
But
Also
again,
karma.
yeah, yeah, no, for sure. So that, I feel like it's definitely better now than it was when I first started. So I'm not saying that it wasn't there before. I just wasn't connected to
Yeah.
people who could help. And so I feel like I'm a couple of years behind where I could have been if I'd had more resources, more help, more understanding of what the heck I was doing and how to navigate this crazy world of entrepreneurship and in this industry, which is very specific. It's not, like the wedding industry, and what we're doing is kind of specific. So you can't ask, like, I can't talk to my husband. He's like really amazing with business and finance and all that, but it's very different when you're dealing with emotions and people and these life experiences.
Yeah.
We get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that sometimes you feel isolated being a woman of color in this industry. Like, what do you feel like has helped you build that sense of community, and like how did you like navigate those feelings?
I mean, I think, like, it's a fact, right? I'm a woman, I'm a Black
Yep.
woman, and I've always had to navigate situations where I'm one of few or sometimes the only one.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But I think I've always believed that I deserve to be in spaces where everybody else is, so I'm not going to shrink. And I'm just going to try to gravitate towards people who are accepting of me and welcoming of me, and try not to put myself in situations where I'm uncomfortable or whatever. But even if I am uncomfortable, getting over that, because that's just the reality of my existence, right?
Right.
But I've talked to other people who have said that they don't feel comfortable in certain situations and they prefer not to put themselves in situations. I kind of feel like I'm going to lean into every situation and try to make the best of it, or see what I can bring to the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never go into any situation expecting anybody to do anything for me. Like, I go into things, knowing that I have something to offer, and I go in like being my authentic self. And if you like it and you appreciate it, great. And if you don't, then okay. But
that's on them, right?
But
Like,
that's on them, right?
Yeah.
Like if people are not going to be accepting and open and willing to work with me, that's okay.
That's a mirror to them. Like, this is what you need to work with. Like, yeah.
It's also saving you time from investing in that person.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like that's something that, just through life, I've kind of learned how to navigate. I mean, but that's not to say that sometimes it gets exhausting,
Yeah. Right.
Always have to,
Yep.
Almost work harder to be like, yeah.
Or prove that you can, do, do certain things, or be in certain situations, or, I don't know.
You deserve to be in all the spaces, Melissa. You are you are such a gem, like such a freaking gem.
And you're showing up, and you're doing it regardless of how comfortable people are with it.
Yeah.
So like you have, and I have zero way of understanding it, obviously. But like, for me to think of adding on a whole other layer of complexity to what we do is just unfathomable to try to figure out. So it's amazing that someone who is like still so like positive and kind and like giving, while dealing with this stuff, let alone also having 3 children, like going back to like people opening up about things in the wedding world, like just balancing actual real life with the wedding world. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's so difficult and you are literally juggling it all.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, everything happens for a reason. And I came to this industry later in life. And, I wonder, because I was super hands-on with the kids when they were little and just, even working, I just, like, my kids are everything. And I think about how, for me, like weekends and, times when everybody else is with their kids and with their families, I'm now, oftentimes off helping support another family in one of their celebrations. And I admire, people like yourselves who went through your baby years and, like so many of the people that I've now become friends with, in the industry who are doing this with little ones. I'm like, wow, like hats off to you guys. Cause that is hard. It was hard to manage, being in a different career, but this one in particular, where your weekends, are, definitely devoted to other people. I think that balance is really, really difficult, but you just have to kind of, I guess, obviously, like just always stay focused on the most important things.
Yeah.
But, that can be hard because like in this business, like we are beholden to our clients and a lot, that can creep into life. It does, but my kids are grown.
Yeah.
It still does. Like I'm still a mom, even though.
Of course. Never ends.
Yeah.
Never ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just amazing kind of that the complexity of it on that side. I feel like we need a wedding parenting support group. Our kids are just now, becoming adults and having to go through all that. So we're a little bit behind you, but we are lucky to have been able to do what we've done with them. And I think it's not like our values and priorities were always understood, but nothing's a straight line. So I feel like if I had to be like, how do you do it? I think it's just a constant recalibration.
Constantly recalibration.
As your kids get older, as you know, like every year or two, they're completely different humans.
They're into different things. They're doing, it's just.
Yeah.
And their relationship to you changes. And it's just like, it's just a constant moving target. And I think, that's something that I think parenting in general, people don't talk a lot about.
Yeah.
It's the nuances along the way versus like, I just have kids. Like,
oh yeah.
It's a lot more than that.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're present, if you're a present parent.
Yes.
And present, not always just like, like in terms of physical presence, but like just being, locked into parenting and being there for your kids in all of the different stages from, newborn all the way to adulthood.
Yeah.
It's, it's a lot. And so, I mean, I think it'd be great to have a parent. I mean, I'm not past it. It's so funny because now I have a different relationship with my kids, which is really nice. It's nice to have an adult relationship with your kids because I'm not worried about like, oh my gosh, did you do your homework or, like hurry up and get your stuff together for soccer. Like, I'm not worried about those kinds of things. I'm still worried about, certain things, but it's nice to now be able to deal with them as the beautiful humans that I think all 3 of them are. Like that's the biggest joy. Like they're really great people, and I love being around them.
Yeah, which was a testament to you and your husband. That's it. When people compliment us, I'm always like, okay, well, we had some part in it. Like I don't believe in nature versus nurture. I think it's a mix for sure. But like we've met your daughter.
Oh yeah, you're one of your daughters, and she's like, amazing,
absolute sweetheart, and just like
she's gonna go out and change the world.
She's a little mini Marissa. Yeah, and also I just wanted to point out, like, give you kudos to making the career change when you did, because I think the older we get, the harder it is to make any
Yeah.
like real big change.
Mm-hmm.
But from the perspective of doing it as a mother, like a female, a mother, woman of color, and making such a drastic change and showing that example to your kids, I think is so valuable.
Yeah.
And I think whether or not, like, my belief with our kids is like, we do a lot of things that I think are impacting them. They'll just never tell us about it or understand
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That is so true. Like there are things that I took for granted that my kids now mention or like they remember. And I'm kind of like, wow. So they are looking and they are
Yeah,
paying
looking.
attention. And I'm hoping, I mean, like I definitely have not done everything right. I made a lot of mistakes, even as a parent, but hopefully I've done more good.
Wait, you're human?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully I've done more good than bad. So, that's, you know, that's what I have to hold on to because we're not perfect, right?
We're
Like
not.
we're definitely,
We're not. And there's no manual. There's no
there's
manual
no
of like how to do this.
you don't even know, like there's no manual to that. There was no manual. I mean, there may have been a manual for entrepreneurship, but I didn't read it.
I have read them actually, and they're not always relevant or
I know.
applicable.
Right.
So I've read probably like 50 business books over the years. Like
Yes.
it's a lot of times you just have to learn by doing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But,
That's the best teacher, I think. Like, yeah.
So I mean, this has been a wonderful conversation and kind of a change of pace for us. So I feel like we're pretty well aligned on so much.
Yeah.
So it's been really nice to learn more about your story.
I do have one more quick question.
And I have one as well, but
You go first.
no.
Okay. So, I mean, the latest buzz and craze in our wedding industry is the proposal or the engagement of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. So, I want you to, can you tell me what you think her flowers are going to look like?
Oh my gosh.
What do you think? I mean,
Like,
there's obviously going to be a lot of them.
yeah, I think, well, I don't know why the first thing that came to mind was like just big, over the top, fluffy pinks, whites. Like it's going to be very feminine. It's going to be very, Taylor Swift. I mean, and I'm not necessarily a Swiftie, so
Me neither.
I don't know, but that's just like the first thing that came to my mind. It's going to be big and it's going to be, yeah, like just massive, massive amounts of flowers. I don't know. I guess that we don't even know if they're going to do like a destination, if they're going to be.
Yeah, who knows?
She's from Pennsylvania, right? Like, I doubt that it's going to be here.
No.
So,
It would be great though if she would bring it here, but
yeah, I doubt that.
A real wedding photographer.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I just imagine it's going to be over the top
Yeah.
in a very Taylor Swift sort of way.
Yeah.
Part of me wishes that they take the opportunity to do something really intentional and not just grandiose. And, like, it's not going to happen, but I feel like that's
Like a Jeff Bezos wedding.
Yeah. Like, I feel like it would send such a beautiful message to people. And she has a ton of influence and it's going to be big regardless. And it's going to be feminine. And I kind of feel bad for what's your fiance's name? Travis. Like, I just feel bad. He's just going for the ride at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's happy to be on that ride though.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what first came to my mind, but I don't know if I have given it.
So pink and white and
We'll
girly.
see.
And
Yeah.
white, girly,
I'm curious. These are the things I think about. Like,
fluffy, and
yeah.
big, and just,
I don't know, but she's like definitely transformed over the years. Like there's definitely like a more of a sexy womanhood that I'm like seeing from her.
yeah. But
Especially
I don't
in this relationship.
Yeah, I mean, but I still don't see her doing like a super modern,
Yeah.
and a sleek vibe. I mean, I think it's going to be romantic and ethereal and
Yeah.
big, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't like that night that it was all over social media. I guess it was the night after we did the Four Seasons event, and
Yeah.
I didn't even look at anything. So I came in I was, kind of came in the next day and it was like, oh my gosh, were you inundated with that on social media? And I was like, actually, I was not even looking at social media.
Yeah.
So I missed all the buzz, but yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I'm happy for them.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super happy for them.
I have nothing to contribute. And I have strong opinions too. So now it's this thing. So my question, which isn't as fun, or for me, uh, is there anything that you are currently like promoting or that you want us to highlight, and like something you want to share with people? Because something we didn't talk about, for example, is your other brand.
Yeah.
But is there anything you'd like to share there?
So we are actually in the midst of a refresh of both brands. So Amaranth Florist was the original flower business that I purchased and kind of rebranded and revitalized. And there have been multiple iterations of that. Most recently, last year, we moved out of our brick and mortar flower shop, which used to be in Narberth, and it was like a really pretty little shop, and people could walk in and buy flowers. But we definitely saw a shift post COVID, but more in the last couple of years, where we get most of that business online, and we're doing a lot of corporate and more like in-home versus like people walking in to buy a bunch of flowers, because you can go to like Trader Joe's, you can go to Whole Foods, you can go to a lot of places where flowers are a lot less expensive. So we made some decisions to pivot out of the flower shop and go into a studio based on business. And so that's what we did last year. And so kind of shifting how we approach everyday floral, which I think there's still a place for, but we're just shifting how we're doing that, is where Amaranth is heading. And again, I do a lot of corporate work on that end. I started Seven Blooms several years ago because we really were ramping up our wedding work, and I really wanted to have a completely different team dedicated to just weddings and all that goes into that, because retail floristry and wedding floristry are very different, very, very different in how we operate, how I operate the business, how we deal with the flowers. It's just two different animals. So I saw the need to like break that off and have a team and experts totally dedicated to weddings and all those special events. And so that's where Seven Blooms was born. And so now that we're 3 years into Seven Blooms, we're refreshing that brand and elevating it to where we are with it right now. And I just really felt like that needed a refresh. So new website coming, new logo coming, new branding coming for Seven Blooms, and the same with Amaranth, new website, new logo. So it's exciting.
That's exciting. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's exciting because there's just, obviously I wouldn't do this if the businesses were not growing and thriving, knock wood. But it was definitely time to elevate both brands and give them the presence that they needed in order to deliver the quality of work that we have been delivering. Like I said before in the beginning, like when I came into this business 7 years ago, and just like in everything that I do in life, I always have a vision in my head. And so like I'm always just striving to just get to that point where my vision is realized. And so this is like a part of the process of our just expanding and growing and having
evolution.
So that everything is matching the vision that I had in the beginning.
I love it.
Yeah.
Keep manifesting it, girl.
I'm trying.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
And it's such a privilege to be able to work alongside you.
Oh, and you guys as well. You guys are the best. I really have enjoyed getting to know you and working with you, and just having these more deep and real conversations. It's just been really a joy and fulfilling to me to know that there are people like you in this industry. So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And you're my Aries twin.
Oh my God, I feel like that was like a new level of vocal unlocked there. It's because I'm sick. I'm squeaky.